I got the blues, guess you know what
Hello
I mean.
and welcome once again to another, yes, that's right, ladies and gentlemen, another Wirral Blues Club podcast with myself, Ian Boyle, and the one and only, the fantastic, the amazing
Richmond Dutton.
That'll be you.
Yes, apart from the description beforehand. Yes, well, there we are.
Well, we've been off for a few weeks, haven't we?
We have.
I've been on holiday, and then you went and caught COVID.
I did, yes.
And so we've not been podcasting like we should have been. But,
no, naughty.
So
naughty.
we're back.
We are back. We are back, yes. And
on the day before, we are on the eve of the
yes,
of the Geraint Watkins and the Mosquitoes
fantastic
gig. We are on the eve of that, and by the time you hear this podcast, we probably had that.
We probably will have done, yeah,
or not. So we got, oh goodness me, so many things going on.
Absolutely. What a busy month. Already has been, hasn't it? Yeah,
well, it has been a busy month. Because we've been doing an awful lot of rehearsing. So after West Bluesmen, for instance, as most people will know that I'm part of, we've got this weekend, we've got Geraint Watkins gig, so we're supporting Geraint Watkins. Then we're playing the Wellington in Bebington, and then we're playing over in Neston at the Brewers Arms.
Fantastic.
All in one weekend.
My God. I don't know how you do it.
Well, I don't know. I'm going to do it, to be honest with you. I'm going to have no voice left by the end of that.
You are not. No. You'll have worn out that gob iron, I think, too.
I think you're probably right. So anyway, coming up soon.
Yes, coming up soon. What have we got?
Which is on the 3rd of November. Blue Dog Hooch, all the way from Lancashire.
Excellent. And what a wonderful county as well. Well known for its blues music, you know.
Yes.
Oh, yes. Several genres of blues music originated in Lancashire, you know.
Is that...
Oh, yes, the clog blues. Oh, now be careful, Richmond. You're going to do it again. Yes, no, yeah. Well, there we are.
So they've got... so it's a 5-piece band.
Yes.
And they've got a saxophone player, don't you know?
Splendid.
A saxophone player.
Splendid. That's what I like to hear.
And not
as long as it's a proper tenor sax.
You like a tenor sax?
I like a tenor sax. Yes, I do indeed.
I thought you did. You look like a tenor sax kind of a bloke.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm that same shape.
You're definitely not an alto guy, are you?
No, not really. No, I've never really liked the alto sax. It's okay, but I think it's been overdone in pop music in the last 40 years. You know, to be honest, it's worn its welcome out in my mind.
Okay.
But the tenor sax never, ever can.
So... Let's hope he turns up with a tenor sax then.
Yeah, well, yeah. But if he doesn't, I'll keep quiet.
Will you?
Yeah. I promise. I promise.
You're not going to go up to say, what is that?
Yeah.
Oh, fair enough.
Do you want me to bend it for you? Yeah. Oh, dear. Never mind.
So, Geraint Watkins sold out tomorrow.
Yeah.
Once again, so that's going to be a busy night. If you are listening to this podcast before tomorrow night, take my advice, get there early.
Yeah,
get there
absolutely.
early.
Yep.
Be prepared to make new friends.
Yes, indeed.
Because it's a very intimate venue.
It's a superb venue. To be honest, if you haven't been there, you should get there just to see what a lovely building it is.
Yeah.
And the beer.
The beer
is so excellent.
Well, you know what? Some people say, do you know what? It's worth coming just for the beer. And because the beer is so cheap.
It is. The beer is incredibly cheap, incredibly high quality. Right? It's superb. You know what? This is the first time I've ever been able to say this. When I used to do my blues programs on the radio, I wasn't allowed to, when I'm mentioning the Blues Club, to talk about the beer.
Oh.
The reason is we are being sponsored by an organisation that helps recovering alcoholics, and you're not allowed to mention alcoholic drinks at all.
Oh, I see. So we're allowed to. Yeah, no.
We can now.
We can encourage alcoholism as much as we like.
Responsible.
Yes. We only encourage responsible alcoholism.
Absolutely. Yep. Yes.
Well, that's fair enough. But I mean, goodness me, actually, if the price of a ticket, we were talking about this there, if the price of the ticket is £15,
yes,
okay, and you could actually save.
Yeah.
If there was, 2 or 3 of you, you would save at least one to the price of the admission for one person, or even 1.5 people.
Yeah.
just on what you were saying, or what you would normally pay and be at your local pub.
Oh, absolutely. Or per person if you were an enthusiastic enough drinker.
Yes. Yes, but at the end of it, you wouldn't know.
You wouldn't know.
No.
No.
How much you saved.
Absolutely. And I'm always hanging around the bar, for a free pint. So, you may save nothing.
That's how I always wondered why you... Well, you live and learn. Anyway, so last week we had Dave Spade on. Dave Spade was absolutely amazing. I was blown away by this guy. To be honest, I was a little sceptical because, how many people are there who they just play guitar and sing?
Yeah.
And I'll tell you now, there's a lot.
Yes.
A lot.
There are actually.
Understandably.
Yeah.
But this guy was incredible.
Yeah, I couldn't go because I was ill still, and unfortunately, but all of my friends who turned up got back to me and said how fabulous the evening was, and how some of them were dubious because they thought, acoustic, not really into it, and all this, but they'd bought the tickets and they went and they said, can't wait for him to be on again. And he is on again,
He is on again.
He's already booked.
Already booked next October, exactly a year from when he's obviously played last week. So, but it was more than just his guitar playing. His guitar playing, as you might imagine, was fabulous. And he had a range of guitars.
Yes.
And some of them were tiny guitars and made an amazing noise.
Yeah.
So that in itself was special.
Yeah.
But his voice was so authentic.
Yeah.
And the sound he made was so authentic.
Yeah.
Robert Johnson, Crossroads, for instance, he played that, and I tell you now, you'd have thought Robert was in the room.
Fantastic.
That's how good it was. It was just out of this world.
Brilliant.
So, I don't know what to say really, but it was...
Yeah.
And I'm gutted that it wasn't sold. Well, do you know what? In some ways...
Yeah, but it will be next time.
Well, actually...
Because the word will go around.
Actually, I'm not sure I want it to be sold out next time.
Oh, yeah.
Because do you know what? It was so relaxed.
Yeah.
That it was only half full.
Yeah.
But because of that and the way that Dave played and the amount of people that was in the room, it just worked because it wasn't sold out.
Yeah. Yeah.
With a band it's different.
Sure.
The band is different. Oh, loads of people in there. You want all that atmosphere.
Yeah.
But this was so relaxed.
Yeah, exactly. Intimate.
And honestly, when he played, you couldn't hear a pin drop.
Yeah.
And that for me made it. So next time, we may even drop down the amount of tickets available.
Really?
For the show. I might even be prepared to say because we have 90 tickets available for each show, and I would possibly drop that down to 70 because I thought that it worked. Even more because there was less people in there.
Yeah, interesting idea.
Yeah,
very good in. Yeah,
and that's what we're there for. Wirral Blues Club. We want to create the best atmosphere.
Yeah.
And alongside Dave, the supporting act. And I hate to say a supporting act because it's just what we say. We got the supporting act. Normally it's After Reds Bluesmen, but it wasn't us this time. It was Phil Chisnell, and it was Sam Wilkinson, under the name of Sammy Boy Wilkinson. That's his stage name, which I think is very cool.
Yeah.
And a lady called Lynn who did percussion and some backing vocals. And do you know what? It was such a tight little unit, the three of them. And I'll tell you now that although Phil himself is not an out-and-out blues man, he plays blues. He does play blues music inspired by blues, but he's inspired lots of other genres as well. But he played some of the best blues music I've heard in many a blues gig.
Yeah.
It was fantastic. It was atmospheric. The three of them on stage, absolutely brilliant unit. And I'm such a big fan of Phil, and also Sam, because Sam's a fantastic harmonica player. and a brilliant bass player as well.
Fabulous. Well,
so Sam was on bass. Phil obviously was on his guitar, and again a little bit of percussion from Lynn, who I can't remember their surname, unfortunately. Sorry, Lynn. So that's what everybody missed.
Excellent. Yeah.
It was amazing. Now, as always, we're going to make sure we do a shorter podcast than last time. Or not.
Yeah. Well, indeed.
So we're going to have to crack on.
Yes.
And get to the artist of the week. Let's play the jingle. Featured artist of the week. There we go. Jingle played.
Excellent.
You like that bit, don't you?
I love that bit. Yes.
Who are we going to be talking about this week?
Well,
on the WCBC podcast.
Well, this week I thought we'd have just a little look at Albert King.
Albert King,
yes.
There's a man. There's a man.
Yes, absolutely one of the three kings, of course.
Yes.
B.B. King and Freddie King were the other two.
Yes.
But Albert King is a bit of a mystery. Now, with a lot of these blues artists, particularly the earlier ones, there's often a lack of information, particularly about their early years and so on, and etc. But with and that's just the way it was. They often came from obscure backgrounds. They came from obscurity. They worked their way up and gradually became, well known on the blues circuit, or not in some cases. But with Albert King, he actually deliberately obscured his background in order to promote his career.
Ooh.
Because his name wasn't Albert King at all. It was Albert Nelson. But he always claimed that his name was Albert King and that he was the half-brother of B.B. King. But he was no such thing. He wasn't at all related to B.B. King.
I like that.
But in the 40s, he actually called himself Albert Nelson, and he didn't start calling himself Albert King until the 50s, in fact. So, there we go. And B.B. King was quite decent about it and said, at first he was rather upset he was using his name, because not only was he using his name and claiming to be his brother, but all his promotional material said, the brother of B.B. King, get yourself down here. Well, it worked. It worked, sort of. And B.B. King famously called his guitar Lucille, right?
Right.
And Albert King called his guitar Lucy. So he was constantly taking stuff from B.B. King. There we go. But he played with him many times, and they seemed to get on. But there you go.
They must have. They must have done this on purpose between the two of them. I'm sure he wouldn't have just done this without saying to.
Well, you'd think not. You'd think there was some sort of thing between them, but I don't know. I mean, B.B. King was a big name and successful, right, really, from the word go.
Obviously, B.B. King's name wasn't B.B., was it?
Well, indeed not. No, it wasn't. No. But his surname was King.
Yes.
But, I mean, Albert King even claimed to have been born in the same town in Mississippi as B.B. King, and he wasn't. He was born in Mississippi, but not the same town.
Well, I guess you just got to, do what you got to do to promote yourself, haven't you?
I think so. I think it was. I don't think you'd get away with it these days, however.
I do. I think it's genius myself.
Well, you would, I can see that. Yes, indeed. I mean, calling yourself Ethelred, naming yourself after an Anglo-Saxon king.
Yes.
I mean, that's the ultimate nerve.
We've followed the king thing.
Yeah, of course. Bloody! I never thought of that.
We are the fourth king.
The fourth king. Yes. So okay. Well, it was. He was born in Mississippi, but he moved at the age of 8. Right outside of there to another plantation, and that cotton plantation his family moved to was in Arkansas. He started playing guitar at a very, very early age. He made his own. In fact, he made that weird thing. I can't remember what they're called now. But
banjo.
No, even weirder.
Weirder than a banjo?
Oh, yeah. What he first made was a plank of wood with a nail in at either end.
Like a cigar box? guitar.
But not even a box.
Oh.
No, this was just a plank of wood.
Yes.
Nail in either end.
Yeah.
Piece of string connecting the two of them. And then what you did, you used an empty bottle, an empty glass bottle, as the bridge. And to change the notes, you moved the bottle up and down. Yeah, so you got a fantastic effect, from that, and that's how he started playing that.
Well, I actually don't know what that's called.
No,
But if anybody does know, please
let us know.
Yes, let us know in the comments.
Yes,
let us know in the comments below.
But it apparently gives a really good slide guitar effect, and so yeah, it's a nice instrument. But anyway,
yes,
that's what he started with. Then he built his own guitar. And then finally he could afford a guitar. And his early music began with a band called the Groove Boys, and that was in Arkansas. That was in 1940s. I think he started playing with them in about 1943. Had a little bit of success. He earned a living, but didn't really produce any records and so on. And it wasn't actually until, I suppose, the 50s when he made his first record, and that was a flop. And so it went on, and again, he didn't really make any, recordings that you'd call financially successful until the 60s. And he's probably only remembered for two songs. One, which is Crossroads, and he didn't write that. That was...
Robert Johnson.
Yes, it was Robert Johnson, wasn't it? Yes, it was Robert Johnson. Yes, very good, excellent. Thank you for that.
Thank you.
My goodness. But his first big hit was "Don't Throw Your Love on Me So Strong." Yeah, and it was he made a recording of that, and he did very well with that. That has the marvellous line, yes, your love is like a faucet, baby. You can turn me off and turn me on.
Oh,
there you go. So it's classic stuff.
Yes, they don't make lyrics like that anymore, do they?
Oh, they absolutely do not. And on the original recording he made of that, Ike Turner, I don't know whether we're allowed to mention his name these days, but Ike Turner was playing piano on that record.
Okay.
So after that, Albert King signed up with Stax Records, and here he started to do well because he teamed up with Booker T and the MGs. Yes, and started to record lots and lots of singles with Booker T and the MGs. And in fact, is probably his most famous song he recorded with them. And it was written by Booker T, and it's Born Under a Bad Sign.
Well, I was just going to say that one, because that's a song that I know him well for.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's actually one of the songs that the Fourth King, Ethelred's Bluesmen.
Yes.
Yes. They play also.
They do.
Yes.
Of course, I mean, I most strongly associate that song with Cream, of course.
Yeah, a lot
because
of people do,
from my
don't they?
teenage years, that's, but probably a most other famous person that recorded it was Homer Simpson. Seriously, yeah.
He's not real.
Oh, isn't he real?
No.
Okay. Well, Homer Simpson has made a recording of Born Under a Bad Sign.
Okay.
So there you go.
We'll have to listen to that one. If we could get Homer for the Blues Club, we'd definitely sell out that.
Definitely. Do you think it's a possibility?
Who knows? Who knows? Can you imagine?
Well, under the wing of Stax, he started doing really, really well, and he started making money, started making a lot of records, doing very, very well. And then he was picked up by Bill Graham, who, of course, had the Fillmore Auditorium. And in 1968, Bill Graham offered him 3 nights there, 3 live sessions, 3 nights on the run. And he made a recording of each of those 3 nights and made 3 albums from that. So, and they're amongst his sort of best stuff. Then he did a strange thing in the 70s. I think it was 1970. He recorded an album of 50s Elvis hits, but in his own style of playing.
Right. Okay.
But after that, I mean, Stax Records went bust in the early 70s, I think, late 60s, early 70s. So he lost their sort of promotional thing. Nobody else really picked him up on that. He started doing funk type music in the 70s. Then he sort of migrated into sort of pop music. He was trying to make a living because blues for him had just gone totally down the pan, and he just wasn't getting any bookings, no live bookings, no recordings, no studios were picking up on him, and his career went really down and down and down. And in fact, by the 80s, he packed in altogether. He wasn't touring or anything. Later on in the 80s, he started again, but he went back to his blues roots, just basic 12-bar blues, not his own stuff, you know, covers. And he started building up, you know, an audience all over again, started doing well, but you know very well how these blues stories end.
Did he die?
He died.
Oh, God.
Yes, indeed. His final album, in fact, was recorded in 1991. It was called Red House, after the
Jimi Hendrix
number, yep. And the following year, he died of a heart attack in his Memphis home. And that was him. He was given a funeral procession by the Memphis Horns playing When the Saints Go Marching In, and buried in Paradise Garden Cemetery in Edmondson, Arkansas, near his childhood home.
Right,
that's
so
the story.
So there's another one we're not going to have at Wirral Blues Club then.
I'm afraid not.
No.
No, unless you know any good, people to run a séance for us. Yeah, but, you know, so he didn't even make it to 70, in fact.
No. Oh, dear.
Yeah.
It seems to be the way with blues people, doesn't it? They just seem to die young.
They do die young.
Yes.
Although possibly, I suppose, that, you know, no. In the 90s, I think 70 was still, 69 was still young.
Yeah.
It's a great number to die on, but it's, you know.
But
you know, but I'm glad I've just passed that anyway, so.
Yeah, well, congratulations.
Thank you, yes.
Yes. Yeah.
So there we are, Ian. That's Albert King.
Well, as always, very interesting. Very interesting.
I hope so.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, it's... I love this sort of thing. It's great to be able to go out and play music, but also, you know, to learn a little bit of history and learn a little bit about the people who came before you.
Yeah. I think the thing is, we tend to think, you know, it's hard to make a living being a musician nowadays.
Yes.
And we tend to think that, you know, when you hear these great names from the past, that, oh my God, they must have done really well, you know, because that was the era of the blues, you know, and all that. But actually, no, there were so many people playing the blues, you know, if you go back to the 50s, 60s, and before, of course, that it was actually hard to make a living. And most of these guys made very, very little money out of it.
Yeah,
you know, they certainly didn't make themselves rich.
No.
You know, it's only the very, very few that did well.
Yeah.
And yet they were all fantastically talented musicians. And that's the situation today. There's tons of talented musicians, all of whom can be heard, of course, at Wirral Blues Club.
Absolutely.
Live.
Yeah.
But I don't think you'll find many millionaires there.
Well, you know, the thing is, it's changed. So people who are full-time musicians, if they are good, they they can really make a living, because back in the day you made money by doing gigs.
Yeah.
Okay. Now you've got social media, so there's a lot of people who get followers on YouTube and etc. So you've got all these different money streams.
Yeah, true.
And a lot of people are doing tutorials and things like that, and maybe only being a little bit of money that they bring in, but it's all things that help that never used to be available.
That's true, yes. It's become more diverse, your outlets now, yes.
So people are able to make a living, and there's more blues festivals now in the UK than ever.
Really?
I think so.
Yeah,
I think so.
Yeah.
I truly believe that. You know, to see just every month there's a blues festival somewhere in the UK.
Yeah.
So that's brilliant.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's a good point, Ian. Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, same with jazz, really. You know, if you go on the internet and look up jazz festivals or whatever, again, they're every month, 2 or 3 around the country every single month, and yet most people, you know, don't even hear jazz these days. You know, you won't hear it hardly on the radio unless you look for it. And same with blues, really. You've got to search for the programs.
Yeah, absolutely. Right, so goodness me, I think we're going to have to wrap this
Yes.
this podcast up.
We've done another super short one, haven't we?
Yes, another super short one. Thanks for listening to Wirral Blues Club. Please come down to Thornton Huff. Go on the website, see what we've got on, because we are this week, in fact tomorrow,
Yes.
announcing our schedule.
Wow.
For the whole of 2024, at least up to November. And I think we're still waiting to December. We're still waiting for an act for the December, so we're not sure who that will be yet. But other than that, right the way through, and we have got one the first Friday of every month, and we've got an extra couple of extra special events as well.
Brilliant, yeah.
Which will also be announced tomorrow.
Excellent.
Which is the 13th. So, and of course, unless you are listening on the 13th, which is tomorrow, then in which case it'll be today.
Yes.
God, I lost myself now.
Well, yeah.
So, so there we have it. That is it. So, thank you so much for listening, and we will see you next week.
Yes. Bye-bye, everyone.
Thanks. Bye now.
Every morning, every night, I turn